but in the best way possible. My favorite book boyfriend, I am giggling, I am kicking my feet, I'm rooting for this couple, I want them to be together. I would have been fine with this being a novella. It didn't have to be almost 400 pages. I personally think they are so annoying. He is a K-pop idol. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, my name is Nisha and I love taking you along on my reading journey. And in today's video I'm going to be reading for 24 hours, but I'm not going to do this in a row. So I'm not going to do a 24-hour readathon because I like my sleep and I also do want to do other things during the day, but I'm going to set my timer for 24 hours and I'm going to pause it every time I stop reading so that I can actually read for 24 hours and see how much or little I read. I don't consider myself a slow reader, but I'm also not a fast reader, so I honestly don't know how many books I will finish in 24 hours, but my guess is 2.5, maybe 3. I am already reading The Right Move by Liz Tomforde. I started the book 2 days ago and I'm about 30% in right now, so those 30% obviously do not count towards the challenge. I read the first book in the Windy City series in December of 2023, so it has been a while since I read the first book, but I still have a vivid picture of what happened in the first book. I know that I loved the main character. The second book follows the twin brother of the girl from the first book, so you get to see the first couple, which I love. The banter between the two characters is very entertaining, but you can also see that they are attracted to each other, so they have always been attracted to each other, so it's not going to be an enemies to lover. They are opposites, like the guy is very grumpy and the girl is very outgoing and sunshiny, so their personalities are clashing a bit right now, but in the best way possible. So I'm going to start my timer and continue reading this book, and I will update you just like a normal reading vlog, but with a timer element. So yeah, let's start the timer. It has been over an hour since starting the timer, and I've read about 100 pages, which makes me sit at the 50% mark on this book. So far, I have been enjoying every single moment of this book. Ryan is my favorite book boyfriend so far. I'm not a huge romance reader, but I have read quite a few, and so far Ryan is my favorite male main character. Both characters have different love languages, but they meet each other's love language so well. They are not in a relationship yet, so it is a slow burn, but I quite like slow burns because even though I like reading about them actually being in love and being in a relationship, I also like the build up and the tension that comes with them not being quite in a relationship but really wanting to. They have been flirting, there is a lot of bantering, they are texting with each other when both of them are out of town, which is so cute. I also like reading about all the side characters and the friendships. I have over 22 hours to go, but so far I'm really enjoying the challenge. I like timing myself and seeing how fast I read, but I'm not rushing myself, so I'm just reading at my regular pace. I have a hard time putting this book down. I am having so much fun and I just want to read. I am giggling, I am kicking my feet. I just love Liz Tomforde's writing. I'm rooting for this couple, I want them to be together, so I'm going to continue reading. I will talk to you whenever I have something to say. I paused the timer yesterday because I finished The Right Move by Liz Tomforde. Like I already said, I was obsessed with this book. I could not put it down. I love the main characters. I love the dynamics that they have with each other, but also with all their friends. There's a huge found family aspect. I highly recommend this book. I gave the first book 5 stars, but I liked this one way better. First book down. I will put the exact time on the screen as well as how many pages I have read because I obviously didn't start at the beginning of the book. And I remember texting my friend when I finished the book that I already missed the characters. I have been contemplating on continuing the series right away, but I really want to work on my physical TBR because I have quite some books on my shelf that are unread. I started Reckless by Lauren Roberts yesterday. I am at page 154, so I have made quite a dent in this read. I can't really tell you what this book is about because it will spoil the first book in the series, so I thought I would just tell you what the first book is about and then you can decide to pick it up or not. So Powerless is about a kingdom called Ilia. Most of the people in the kingdom has given powers due to a plague. So you have the elites, those are the people who have powers, but there are some people who survived the plague but didn't get powers. Those are called the ordinaries. The king of Ilia didn't want there to be ordinaries, he wants his society to be solely elite, so he decided to banish all the ordinaries. So most of the ordinaries are gone, but our main character Payden is an ordinary and managed to stay hidden. Nobody knows she is an ordinary and doesn't have any powers, but then she gets thrown into a trial, and this trial is designed for the most deadliest and strongest elites, but since she has no powers, all she can do is stay alive. Yeah, there are trials, there is an enemies to lover, so this book is perfect for anyone who loves to read about high stakes competitions. I think that if you like the Hunger Games, this book will also be good for you to read. The first book ends on a very high note. There is a novella that you can read called Powerful, and it is about Payden's best friend and what she does while Payden is at the trials. The third book will come out in April, so that's why I want to read it now, so I am prepared for the release. So that's what the Powerless trilogy is about. So far I am enjoying myself reading Reckless, but I am not enjoying myself as much as when I read Powerless. I'm not bored, but I'm also not as excited. There are things happening, but I still feel like the plot is not really progressing. So that's my update. We'll see you when I finish the book. I finished Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I'm not sure what to think about this book because it has middle book energy. Obviously things happened, the plot didn't bring you anywhere. I was expecting the plot to go somewhere and I only got that in the last 50-ish pages. I learned a lot more about the kingdom, about the way the magic system works, and also just more about the family of the king and stuff like that. But it didn't have to be almost 400 pages. I would have been fine with this being a novella and just going straight into Fearless. I think I'm going to rate this book 3 stars just because I enjoyed myself, but I wouldn't have mind skipping this book. With that being said, I still have a little under 13 hours left in this challenge, and I was thinking I did a romance book, I did a fantasy book, so maybe it is fun to read a thriller. I have a couple Nicci French books that are unread, so I think I want to try and read one of the Nicci French books. I have them in Dutch because they were gifted to me. I will just put the cover with the English title on the screen so you know which book I'm talking about. So yeah, let's start book 3. So I decided to start The Last Days of Kira Mullen by Nicci French yesterday. I am about 135 pages in, which is around 30-ish%. The story is about Nancy. She has suffered a psychotic episode, and to heal, move to a new apartment. Nancy moves in with her boyfriend, and then they meet her downstairs neighbor, Kira. And after a kind of weird meeting between Kira and Nancy, Kira is found dead in her apartment. Everyone thinks that she did it herself, but Nancy doesn't trust that she did it herself, and this apartment building kind of feels like a small town. All her new neighbors are up in her business. I personally think they are so annoying. Her boyfriend is also very condescending. Sure, she has some mental health issues. He still treats her as if she is a patient and also tells all the other neighbors to treat her like a patient. So far, I only like the main character, Nancy. I kind of feel like she is not as sick as they make her out to be. I think they are playing with her mind, but that's just a theory. So that's the story and how far I am and what my thoughts are. I am going to continue reading now, and I will see you when I have more to say. I finished The Last Days of Kira Mullen by Nicci French. I enjoyed this one very much. I have read quite some books by Nicci French and they never disappoint, and this one was also very good. I enjoyed the writing. The chapters were very short. You went back and forth between Nancy's POV and also the detective's POV, and I actually liked it because it made the story flow much more. I read this book in 2 sittings. I pretty much read non-stop until the book was finished, just because I was so invested. In this book, I didn't really have time to think about what was going to happen at the end, just because I was so invested in what was going on the page. I am going to rate this book 4 stars, just because it is not my favorite thriller ever, but it was very good and I enjoyed myself. I still have like 7.5 hours left of the challenge, so I'm most likely going to read at least one more book and maybe even start a second book. So I have to pick out a new book again, which is always hard for me. So I read a romance, I read a fantasy, I read a thriller. So I think I want to read a young adult or contemporary-ish book. I have two books in mind, XOXO and Hate Mail. So I'm going to pick between those. So yeah, let's start book 4.
I've learned that there's an art to changing, that I'm the potter and the clay.
I decided to read XOXO by Axie Oh. I started this book about 40-ish minutes ago and I am at page 52. I am reading this book on my Kindle because I don't have the physical copy and I'm kind of sad I don't because the cover is very cute. This book is about Jenny. She is a Korean teen. She is a goody two-shoes, good at school. She plays cello very professionally and her dream is to go to a music-based university. She is being raised by her single mom because her dad passed away, and she is also being raised by her dad's best friend, who she calls Uncle Jay. Uncle Jay has a Korean karaoke bar where Jenny also works, and in this Korean bar she meets a guy, and he is kind of mysterious. She knows that he is around the same age as her, so maybe 16, 17 years old, but he seems to be running away from his responsibilities. So she and this guy have a fun night in the town. They eat food, go to a photo booth, cutesy stuff, and she actually likes this guy. They exchange phone numbers, but he never responded to any of her texts. Jenny's grandmother lives in Korea, and her grandmother is sick, so her mom and her are going to Korea to take care of her for about 6-ish months. So Jenny is going to a school in Korea there, and there she finds out that this guy that she met in the karaoke bar goes to that same school, and he is a K-pop idol who is not allowed to date. This is all on the back of the book. It sounds like a forbidden romance book. It is young adult, so there won't be any spice, but I don't like spice anyway, so I'm kind of glad about that. So far I am really liking it. These chapters are very short and the writing is very easy to read, and I am just enjoying myself. I'm here for the vibes. Where I am in the story, she just arrived to Korea, so she doesn't know that she's going to see this guy again. But I'm just so excited to see them meet up and see where the story is going to take them. It's 20-ish minutes later and I am 25% into the book right now. I feel like I'm going to binge this book and finish it today because I am flying through it. The story is written in a way that catches your attention and not really wants to give you away. Series like XO Kitty, or if you have seen the To All the Boys I've Loved Before movies, it kind of gives you the same vibe as to coziness. This book is very cozy. I like all the Korean references. I also like all the K-pop references. I have been introduced to K-pop not too long ago by one of my friends. So being in this world and seeing all the references and seeing how girls are fangirling about these K-pop idols is so fun, and I feel like I'm going to finish this book pretty soon.
I'm the canvas and the painter, the marble that I sculpt away. Every stroke of a brush, every finger's touch is a rosy cheek of a love-struck flush, is a sunburnt wing of a heartbreak crush, is a rush, feel the rush. You're painting Frida Kahlo, lead the muses like a Apollo, all the colors layered on kaleidoscope. You're a sculptor of Bernini, grow like branches that on Daphne, turn and living into art. Life's the Louvre and you're the Mona Lisa. Masterpieces take a lifetime. And patience is a peerless craft. It's wonderful, it's beautiful. You know who you were a year ago. Oh, paint your portrait as you grow.
We did it! I did 24 hours of reading. I last talked to you yesterday when I was in the middle of XOXO, and I finished the book yesterday with 3 hours and 3 minutes remaining on the clock. I enjoyed that book very much. Like I said already, it is a YA contemporary. It had a lot of K-pop references. It was so cute. I adored the main character. I loved being in her POV. She was so likable and just so sweet and not annoying at all. I just enjoyed that story so much. I read it in one day. I could not put it down. I was just so invested in the story, and I cannot wait to read the sequel because that is about the roommate of Jenny and one of the bandmates of the male main character. I ended up giving the book 4 stars, and I highly recommend it if you are a K-pop fan. But even if you're not a K-pop fan, I think you're going to like it because it's very easy written. There are some K-pop references, but the main character Jenny is not a K-pop fan herself. So you learn with her what K-pop is about and how things work in that scene. With 3 hours remaining on the clock, I had to start a new book, but I knew that I wasn't going to be able to finish the book in the video, so I decided to start a book I was not going to use in any of my videos anyway. So I decided to start a Dutch book, and I just read that until the timer ran out, and I got 163 pages into that book. I had a lot of fun reading for 24 hours, but I did not expect it to take this long. For reference, I started this video on Saturday and it is Friday right now, so it took me 7 days to finish this challenge. I had so much fun and I hope you had fun too. To wrap the video up, I want to give you some stats. In the span of this challenge, I read 5 books, but not all of them are full books. So I started this challenge with The Right Move by Liz Tomforde, and I read 409 pages in that book during the challenge and gave it 5 stars. Then I read Reckless. That book had 388 pages and I gave it 3 stars. I read The Last Days of Kira Mullen by Nicci French. It had 442 pages and I gave it 4 stars. And then I read XOXO by Axie Oh, which had 352 pages and I gave it 4 stars. And lastly, I started a Dutch thriller and I got until page 163. So in total, I read 1,754 pages in 24 hours, and most books took me around 5.5 hours to finish, and the fastest book I read was XOXO, and that one took me around 4-ish hours. So yeah, that's the video. Let me know in the comments if you have any other challenges you want me to try, because I really enjoyed gamifying my reading. I hope you liked this video. I hope you give it a like, and I hope you comment down below the answer to my question, and I will see you in my next video whenever I post it. Bye!
Every stroke of a brush, every finger's touch is a rosy cheek of a